Wonderful morning to everybody. This is pre-market outlook discussion for the date of 24th February 2026. Despite there are a lot of uncertainties, particularly from the space of tariff activities. This US tariff actions, which and all having impacted across the nations in the global, and particularly for India, which was favoring with the deal restricted from the 50% to 18% of taxation, and while trying to enjoy the benefits over the deal done through the way of negotiation and the finalization, the Supreme Courts of USA pronounced the verdict like there should not be any reciprocal taxations across the nations levied by US resident in the recent days. So that was the great one for the economies who are all burning the higher taxation, and that would definitely going to be dent the sentiment about economic development, particularly for those who are all depending on the export oriented trade and commerce. So in which the India was almost at the edge of having and experiencing a good deal with the US, but after pronouncing this particular point, whether the removal of the taxations and all going to happen immediately means definitely not, because it has the process. It has, because before the process it is going to be taken, legal activities are like discussions between the US apex side and the government side, and the third with a triangle dimension, the third side, the congressional side. So these are all the major things one has to be note down, and based on the discussions and the developments going on through the discussions, the trade and commerce between major countries with the US will be having uncertainties only. Because after the pronouncement only, the Trump government immediately announced the 10% of global uniform tariffs, and then later further increased to 15% from the 10%. So what it means, the federal government, which is actually ruling the US, currently having an intention to, from the perspective of saving the country and developing the country, like they are taking an actions in terms of tariff. But with the power what the real president of US can have and implement the things and all have been overshooted and overhandled also, we can say, by the current government. So that is why the inconvenient trade and commerce practices made by or generated by the US government is now tackled by the US apex courts, and making rational about the economic activities across the nations with the US. And but for the near term, this tussle between apex courts pronouncement and activities and the federal government official side probably having continued, and anyhow the power, that is the main thing here, which is clearly pronounced by the apex court, which may not be having any new ruling power or new extents of the current power. So that and all will be anyhow going to benefit only in terms of the recently levied taxes. So this is what the elaborated explanation about the US taxation with the India particularly want everyone to know and aware. So until these things are all getting settled, the uncertainties will be there. From our stock market perspective, if you want to aware the thing and get to know about the near-term activities and all means, with the positivity over than the negative things and all, the markets will be continuing with the volatility now and then, and the needed required consolidation also can be expected. And overall outlook for Indian markets is still favoring the positive cloud. So that would be probably between the 25,449, unless it is getting broken and closed below this point, there will not be any severity in the selling side. For that also, the consecutive 2 days of close is required as per our concept. So that 25,449 until it is giving or defending, there will be a chance for attracting the buying with the 28,740 as a immediate resistance point or target point. The Nifty would be eyeing. The close about 25,740, not just in a close basis, but on a decisive manner, the close should be there. Once the decisive close about 25,740, even one day it is closing, will be giving a partial signal about moving further upside. But consecutive second day also once happened, one can see the trend will be totally changed, and the perspection would be on the north side only. That means the positive side only. So that is what the positional based outlook for the Nifty one can aware and act accordingly. For the day, based on the yesterday's movement, that was clearly the trend and all inclined with the negative side, we can say, even though the points were with the gap up open, it was with the positive side. But the overall trend, why it has turned a sluggish based for the few hours, we can say. After that, the downward momentum also witnessed. In the final hours, it has tried to somewhat giving a bounce to close the Nifty in the positive territory. Because of the US government's tariff actions based news, the cheerful attempts were made, but there was a cheerless, as mentioned here in the phrase, the cheerless, but yet cheerful only, because the announcement and its power of changing the rules on the taxations will be there anyhow. So that would be not, even though it is not having any impact or uncertainties are getting increased in the near term, the short to medium term things and all will be getting settled with a high favorable manner for India particularly. So that is what happened in yesterday's trend. Today, in connection with the uncertainties which are all shaking overall asset classes across the globe, India's market also not ruled out. So we need to be experiencing in this kind of situations about the market's fluctuations. Yeah, unannounced volatility also will be there. So till then, we can handle the market with the levels what we have mentioned here. That would be greatly going to help you all to take a trading decisions for the day or for the short term, and even for the investors also, one can actually keep watching the levels what we have mentioned. Once the close based things and all happened, one can easily get the signal and make the decisions based on that signals. So that's it. Very easily you can approach that much of comfortable approachment have been made through our behavioral analysis we have done, and through that the outcome what we have provided or what we have been discussing will be making you all to approach the market with ease. For the Nifty side, the strength would be monitored, and once the buying attraction with a consecutive the buying strength by every hour you can watch it. Along with the interest of attracting the buying in the dip also should be noted. If it is happening, you can even for the day also by approaching the index-based futures and options or any individual stocks, you can keep the buy on dip stop strategy yet again. As long as it is trying to or sustaining above the 25,740 with the confirmation of having above the point in any larger time frame starting 1 hour. That would be enough for making or building the long positions for the target of 25,960 as the major one for the day. If it is crossing 26,000 would be anyhow the psychologically restrict the up move, but the next strong resistance point you can have on the Nifty side means 26,150 only. Between 25,960 to 26,150, the probability will be very high for consolidating and then giving a move then. So between that, you may not be having any chance for clearly getting a signal of extending the positivity or any retracement, whether the Nifty will give like. Between these ranges, we are advising to hold very minimal in the positions, or even it is better to not having any positions on the either side. The risk appetite traders can have some positions on the long side between these level, or even from the confirmation of 25,740 above once the Nifty closes on the hourly basis, you can keep increasing or holding at least if you are a risky trader. Other than the safe trader, while the Nifty nearing to the point of 25,960 as the first and major support for the day, in advance to that nearing area, it is better to reduce your long positions by the way of booking profits. So that is what the level-based strategy for the Nifty to approach. From the positional standpoint also, it should be decisively close 25,740 consecutively for 2 trading days in a row. If it confirms like that, 26,300 would be the next point to get attained by the Nifty, and even the new all-time high also can be expected. For that, it should again insisting close about 25,740 above for the consecutive 2 trading sessions. For the day, the sectors what all can lead the movement on the market side means, again, it is based on the yesterday's strength it got because of the tilting kind of activities on the trend side. We are seeing for the Nifty, the heavyweights like bank and the financial services would also going to experience the same in line with the Nifty's movement. There you can see the profit booking based one from the banking side, particularly the public sector bank side. And in terms of financial services, the NBFCs would be getting moderately attracting the selling. The housing finance companies and gold finance companies. So that and all may be expecting some defensive kind of activities, while the other finance or financial services oriented stocks getting selling attraction. Automobile with a mixed manner one can approach. FMCG with a defensive strategy one can, even the Hindustan Unilever we also recommended, and the Godrej consumer product, Titan company from the consumption side. So these are all the important defensive oriented stocks one can approach. From the IT space, yes, we are still on the bearish side, as we have mentioned, particularly that last week's low should not be get broken, that got broken, and where we have mentioned about 10 to 12% of downside was expected, almost the 3 to 4% downside only. It is now standing. The IT as a sector and the individual stocks under this, and even non-indexed IT stocks also from the mid and the small cap space are expected to attract the selling and moving in line with the IT index moment. And that would be probably having a chance for a minor and a fragile bounces that should not be taken as a chance for building the long. Yes, of course, it is for reducing your long positions and not for building freshly. But the short positions can be utilized to add it, or even fresh positions also can be built. Finally, it is energy sector, which are all particularly from the OMC side, we can see some momentum positively. And oil-oriented stocks like ONGC, Oil India, so that and all may be getting attracted by the selling side today. And if it is so, it should hold the yesterday's low at least. If it is breaking that yesterday's low for these stocks particularly, you can see the trend would be totally turning towards a negative with a 1 to 1.5% of intraday movement on the selling side, one can see. Apart from these discussions from the sectoral front, the stocks based on news and the technical behavior we have listed here to make you utilize for your enhanced trading chances and gains. So the Bharti Airtel consecutive second day, it is topping the list. Yesterday it was based on the AI launch, AI research launch. And today, again based on the news, because the company is willing to start NBFC under the name of Airtel Payment. That would be a long-term process anyway. The news-based one would be impacting the prices of the Bharti Airtel positively. That would be totally, as we have mentioned in a weekly market outlook, the telecom is going to participate in a positive manner. And for the month of March till, the telecom industry will be cooking higher and making or generating more chances for the long builders, those who can even freshly enter or accumulate further, or even for the holders of these telecommunication stocks, maybe trying to booking the profits and all also can be utilized here. So that is what the news one by one it is coming, but we have predicted based on the sectoral outlook. Let's see, by synchronizing both the news and our prediction, how the telecom index is going to perform like. Watch it on every day about the telecom industry oriented movements. See, the Bharti Airtel can be focused with the long aspect. Then Bharat Petroleum, because of the tax demand raised by the central excise tax, so it may be affecting the prices in the negative manner. Chalet Hotels, yes, of course, it is constructing a new hotel in the Hyderabad. So that would be adding some asset as well as the business development. Further, the stock would be reacting positively in today's trade. Torrent Power, based on the F&O exclusion we have added here, and that may be impacting slightly if it is actually trying to attract this selling. Tata Technology too, from the F&O exclusion side we have added. AU Small Finance Bank from the technical behavior side, which may be further impacting the prices in today's trade as well. United Phosphorus Limited, based on the yesterday's movement, technically it has witnessed, we have listed out today also, along with the IDFC First Bank based on that news of fraudulent activities inside the banks. So that also may be extending its negativity for the day. So these are all the stocks one can focus and get a chance for earning good return. So that's it from today's pre-market discussion we can have. Almost the market is going to start shortly. We can now conclude the session. Thank you for participating in today's one. We will be meeting again in the pre-market outlook discussion tomorrow. Until then, we wish everyone to have a fortune day. Don't forget to keep the stop loss on all the transactions you are going to do. Thank you. Bye-bye.